We are learning how not to play D.Va today, and let's just jump right into it. This is a match from beta. A couple of these matches have been from beta, and I do okay here at the start, but I'm going to make some big mistakes later on, and we'll talk about those. To start off, D.Va is a fun tank character. She has a lot of interesting mechanics. She's really fast, at least when she's using her boost. The only person who outpaces her on movement is probably Winston, and I actually don't know the difference in cooldown between his leap and her dash, so it's hard to tell who has the better mobility option. She has a lot more freedom when you're controlling her in the air that Winston doesn't, but that doesn't necessarily make her the better option. I'm using her shield right here against this Reaper, which is a pretty good decision because Reaper can actually eat the shit out of tanks just because of how strong his weapon is, and then I make a choice here. And it's a bold choice, but it pays off. I'm getting low on health. I know that enemies are around that corner, so I rush forward in the hopes of catching one of them and knocking them off the roof, and I do. One thing that people forget that D.Va can do is that when she's charging into people, she can knock them back. And if you're charging into a group that's moving towards a point, one thing you can do is press forward and knock them back. Depending on where you are on the map, that can be a good thing or a bad thing. Charging forward with D.Va is a tricky proposition. For a tank, she can actually get burned down pretty quick, and that's because a lot of what she sort of relies on is armor. And armor is this really complicated thing, the statistics of which I don't completely understand, but it gets chipped down pretty fast, and the only benefit that D.Va has is that she has a lot of it. The other benefit that D.Va has, though, is that she has a lot of uptime because when she gets knocked out of her mech, she stills up like this. She's pretty strong. If you jump around and do a lot of mobility things, you can do pretty well. If I was focusing sort of one-on-one on this Reaper, I actually think I would be okay. But, you know, I'm focusing too much on the Reaper, so I'm not really paying attention to where I am. There's an opening behind me, and that Genji sneaks up on me and nails me. I probably could have gotten that Reaper if that Genji wasn't there, but whatever, hindsight is 20/20. So I keep on using the boost outside of the spawn room to get to where I need to go, just because getting to the point on this map is, you can do it really fast. And I'm also trying to use it to cut across a couple of spaces here. I miss it, so you have to be careful about knowing how much space and distance you can travel with as D.Va, and that's something you just have to learn by doing it a lot. Also, I'm charging off to one side. There's the Soldier 76 and a couple other enemies there. This Soldier 76 is actually a fairly well-played Soldier 76. They put on a lot of pressure. He's pretty good at burning me down, and I'm not using my shield. That D.Va's using her shield. I'm not using my shield. Here's another mistake. I'm eager to get the sort of ultimate use on the point, and I think, hey, maybe by the time I charge in there, my ultimate will be ready. It's not. Don't really charge into the point if you're going to use your ultimate until you know you have your ultimate. It's nice to try and sort of, for lack of a better term, pre-fire on your ultimate, like get ready and amp up and sort of rush in, but you're going to risk the chance of doing exactly what I did, charging in, not having it ready, and just blowing, wasting time and just not having the proper uptime. This is going to be not the best use of an ultimate, but there's been so many people on the point that I'm kind of annoyed by it, and that Genji pops his own ult, so I want to take care of him. I only get a double kill. Ideally, I want to try and save that D.Va ultimate until there are more people on the point, especially in casual games, and especially in pub games, because people just tend to congregate, right? There's not a lot of people who are kind of harassing or moving around the point and taking down folks. Instead, they tend to congregate on the point in order to defend it. So in a public game, I want to wait until I have the most possible amount of bodies on the point to deal with. It's not the worst use of an ultimate. I shut someone down. But anytime I use an ultimate in these videos, I want to talk about the ways that I could have used it better, and that's probably the main way. Here, I'm letting that Genji bait me into the reflect. I'm not using my shield properly. I'm getting shot from behind, and I think I can pivot quickly enough to block those shots. Honestly, I should pivot and then use my shield. I'm using my shield too early, which means I don't have it up for long enough when those enemies are firing upon me. So if I'm turning and I activate my shield, yeah, I'm maybe not using it as quickly, but also I'm not risking using it too soon and having it run out when I really need it. Round 2 is going to be a little bit better for us. We'll talk about it as it goes on. What can I say about D.Va thus far? Really easy to use for a tank, but you have to be careful, especially if you're going to be offensive with her, because when you fire, she has unlimited ammo, which is phenomenal. You don't have to reload those guns at all, but you lock yourself down in a way that probably, like, the only other character that gets locked down more than D.Va when they're firing is Bastion in turret form. So you have to a certain extent, think of D.Va and her, like, her weird mobile suit thing as like a portable weapons platform turret deal. With the benefit of having a shield and some high mobility. So for instance, that high mobility, I can do this. Hey, look at that, Bastion. You're gonna try and hunker down there? Well, I'm not going to let you. I'm going to charge onto your side, hit you when you're not aware, knock you about, and then, you know, shoot you. I'm trading a lot with this D.Va. I sort of waste my shield again. They end up firing on my teammate, and I honestly should wait until they are firing on me. I don't know that all these enemies are coming, so I can't critique myself for being like, oh, I used it way too early. But you can sort of misuse it in the sense that don't use it unless you know that you are going to be shot upon. Like, use it when you are being hit, and then you'll start absorbing the attacks. It's not like using Reinhardt's shield, right? It's not like sort of, you know, I'm gonna put up the shield and save my teammates. Mostly it's about mitigating damage towards yourself. And it's not as much about mitigating damage towards teammates. Sure, you could theoretically jump in front of a teammate and try and block the shots, but it doesn't work out too well. Here, that's, again, not the worst shield use. Once I finally know that that Reaper is there, I prioritize it, right? So when you're using that shield, and I'm talking about the shield a lot, but it's a huge part of playing as D.Va. When you're using that shield, say you're getting hit on multiple fronts, you have to prioritize the damage that you're going to try and mitigate, right? For me, that Reaper is more dangerous than that Genji. So once I know that Reaper's attacking me, I need to pivot and try and block that Reaper. It doesn't work out perfectly because I do end up getting knocked out of my suit, but it's probably the better use of my shield than saying, hey, I'm going to keep on focusing on that Genji and his throwing stars. Instead, I sit back and I focus on the enemy that's actually doing damage. This is a mistake, though. When I get my suit back, I use it in the open where that Bastion can weaken me down, and then that Reaper can finish me off. And then I pop my ultimate to try and put pressure. If I'm getting pressured like that and I'm that near the point, it's probably worth the risk to try and boost onto the point to use the ultimate. Again, using it on a single enemy, using most ultimates on a single enemy isn't a good idea. Maybe not the case for Tracer's ultimate, at least if you're choosing the right target. But with D.Va, because it's such a big attack, you don't want to waste that. That would be like, you know, another one you don't want to use, for example, is Reinhardt's ultimate. You don't want to knock down one enemy. You want to knock down the team. With D.Va, it's the same idea. You don't want to destroy and, like, totally blow up one person. You want to blow up a team. So, right now, I'm just not reacting properly to situations. Every now and then, I'm being smart. Pivoting to deal with that Reaper was okay, but then I totally waste the sort of uptime that I've got myself with that decision by using my recall on my, like, weird mobile suit and using it right in the open where a Bastion can just whittle me down. I should have stayed behind the pillar or that weird little bit of cover, and then I should have done it. Again, just mobility out of the point. Take advantage of it. It's gonna recharge by the time you reach the main points anyway. Also, oh my gosh, my voice sounds really low. It's early morning, I'm tired, and I keep on having to cough. So I'm so sorry about that. So you can see this Soldier 76 eats the shit out of me. He really does. There's a Bastion there, but like, that Bastion's not the big problem. That Soldier 76 whittled me down to like 80 health. I'm spending a lot of time outside of my suit. That's not necessarily a major problem. You can do a lot of damage with D.Va outside of her suit, or at least you can harass the enemy team long enough to, you know, have that uptime, distract them, then get back into your suit. But the biggest problem is just that, like, when there are enemies who can do a lot of damage to me, for instance here, there's that Soldier 76, and then there's a Bastion in the corner. I know that there's a Bastion sort of there, I just don't know where they are. I rush forward right after getting my suit back, and it's okay to rush forward every now and then if you know that you're going to maybe snag someone with that knockback, or if you're going to charge and hit a weakened enemy, but it's not really great if you are just going to rush into a point and try and stop enemies. You're not as tanky as other tanks. Quick note on me trying to avoid that Hanzo ultimate. I try and squeeze into the corner. I'm a big target. Once that doesn't work, like the minute I realize like, oh crap, this thing is starting to eat at my health, probably a good idea for me to use my jets and get out of there. It's gonna put me on the defensive for a little bit, just sort of running away and trying to get the hell out of there, but instead of weakening me and making me less useful for moving forward towards the enemy, I would have had fuller health if I had just gotten the heck out of dodge for a little bit, and then maybe grabbed some health packs on the way back to the point. I'm really aggressive in this match as D.Va, which means I'm getting a lot of sort of pings in on enemies. I'm hitting them pretty hard, but it's not the best idea. At least in the sense that I'm rushing forward a lot without my teammates, which is just not what I want to do at all. D.Va's somebody you want her in the pack so that she can respond to and deal with threats that are coming towards you. I don't know why I'm not popping my shield there. At the very least though, I'm using this ultimate to shut down another ultimate. It's the same thing I did with Genji. It's a powerful tool that you have. I keep on saying it, you want to use it when there are more enemies, but if you can use it to shut down an ultimate, that's an okay trade. In fact, it's not really a trade because all you're trading is the suit. You're not necessarily trading D.Va. You're not necessarily trading you, yourself, and your uptime. You're just trading a little bit of utility in exchange for shutting down a big attack on the point. If you have to make a trade like that, there are worse things to do. It's a fair decision to make. These enemies are just getting really excited to get on the point, and they're rushing forward, and we're doing okay holding down the point, but now they're putting a lot of pressure on us, and we're not really going to be able to respond. Part of that is because they're just really being pretty smart with their ultimate use. People are popping their tactical visors, people are raining justice from above, and it just locks us down. So, D.Va, highly mobile, really great. Use her shield, but pick the targets so you're blocking the ones who are doing the most damage. Don't be afraid to charge forward, but also don't charge forward into large groups. Charge forward to flank enemies or to knock them off of ledges. Use your ultimate largely on, like, groups of people on the point. It's okay to use it to shut down ultimates, but really, you should be using it on larger groups. Be aware that she's a tank, but she's not as tanky as other characters. Overall, this isn't the worst match that I've had, but there's plenty of mistakes. So that is how not to play as D.Va. We'll kind of see my stats. I don't always show them, so I think I do okay, but I have a little bit more deaths there than I probably could. D.Va has a lot of uptime. She really shouldn't be dying as much because you basically have 2 lives when playing as D.Va. So that's it. I will see you next time.